Welcome to another Faith on the Record, where we shine the light of faith on the headlines that are making the stories of the day. I'm Nick Stewart, president of Odyssey Networks. Jim, let's start with you.
Jim Wallis, I'm with Sojourners, and I'm coming to you from Washington, D.C.
Thanks, Jim. And Elizabeth?
I'm Liz Tenety. I'm editor of On Faith, which is the Washington Post forum for news and opinion about religion and politics. I'm also sitting in Washington.
Jim, I want to turn to you. Within the first few weeks of a new president or a president starting a new term, does he call in faith leaders? Have you been called into the old Oval Office in the first few weeks to lay out a framework?
We don't wait to be called in. We tell them when we want a meeting. I mean, we have a relationship now. We're meeting with the Gang of Eight, all the senators who are going to be doing this deal on the Fiscal Cliff. We are engaging our political leaders on the moral issues that we think are critical for us, the deficit and budgets and decisions that we're going to make about how to get to a fiscal sustainable path is important. Reducing a deficit is a moral issue. We're saying that, but how you do it is a moral issue as well. And to make the poor pay the most and sacrifice the most is not something we think we will let happen.
I'm glad you brought up the issue of the fiscal cliff. I was going to come to that in a second. It is the most urgent thing, I think, on the president's desk at the moment. How do you see it, and what are you going to say to them when you sit down, and do you think they'll listen?
Well, they are listening. We're making an ask and an offer. The ask is, in your decision making, you've got to respect our principle of the circle of protection, which is to protect poor and vulnerable people from having their lives made even more difficult. You've got to protect low-income people in your decision making. That's our ask. Our offer is, if you make that principle clear and policies that back it up, we will throw our support toward the moral weight of our authority churches toward a path to fiscal sustainability. We will help you get to a fiscally responsible place, but not at the expense of the poorest and most vulnerable. So we're going to look at corporate welfare, if you will. This country subsidizes the wealthy much more than it does the poor. So that's where the money is. Pentagon spending is where the money is. The wealthy are not even paying the same proportion of their taxes that their employees are paying. So we're talking about fairness and justice and a path to fiscal sustainability that is both fair and just.
Elizabeth, Jim's very clear laying out his sort of manifesto, as it were, there. Do you see religious leadership really standing up?
What I'm going to be looking at is how conservative Christians, just to give the other side, how they deal with these ideas in the post-election world. So we heard a lot about, especially during the Republican primaries, which I think helped bubble out some of these ideas as they relate to morality and the economy on the right. The idea, for example, that mandatory generosity isn't true Christian generosity. So what I'm looking for is that religious language being used in our debates about the economy and the fiscal cliff. But really, I want to know how they're going to shift in the post-election world, and the language specifically of morals and values that the right uses on this issue is what I'm going to be looking for.
Hearing you now, and many leaders talk about the plight of the poor, if I'm a multimillionaire, I don't hear myself being mentioned, certainly in a positive light. So what is your theology of wealth?
In God's economy, two principles. There is enough if we share it. There is enough if we share it. And part of conversion historically was people who are wealthy turning over more and more of their wealth for the sake of the kingdom, the values of the gospel of the kingdom, and good news to the poor is at the heart of that. So I'm talking with CEOs and business people all the time, and they're wanting to embrace this issue of values, because particularly for people of faith, because the gospel is very clear about the common good means that we have to love our neighbors, especially those whom he calls, Jesus, the least of these. So the gospel is pretty clear about that. Matthew 25 couldn't be more clear. It's just how you treat those who are, I was hungry, I was naked, I was thirsty, I was a stranger, I was sick, I was in prison. As you've done to them, you've done to me. And so that gospel is converting people, I think, across the country, up and down the economic spectrum. And that's what I want people to be shaped by, not just by voting as other rich people do. I want Christians to act like Christians first. We're Christians first and everything else second. That's what I want to say to anybody, rich or poor. Christians first, everything else second.
Jim, Elizabeth, thank you very much for your time and your insights. Thanks everyone for watching. And until the next Faith on the Record, take care.